Good evening. I am reading a little late, but I gotta read, so guys, welcome tonight. We are reading Genesis. In fact, I don't even think I plugged in my microphone properly. Let me try this, alright? Okay. Yeah, I'm not really a professional YouTuber, guys. I'm just here reading God's Word. I pray that it reaches those it's supposed to reach in the ways that it's supposed to reach them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 39 of Genesis, the King James Version, and the Message in one video. And it looks like Joseph's in this one, so I'm pretty excited. I'm going to go ahead and just get started with the King James Version, Genesis chapter 39. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over the house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass, from the time that he had made him overseer of his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person, and well favored. And it came to pass after these things, that his master's wife cast eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness, and sin against God? And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time, that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the man in the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and got him out. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and fled forth, that she called unto the man of the house, and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in a Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. It came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled, and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled out. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, and he was there in the prison. But the Lord was with Joseph, and shewed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. The keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it prosper. I'm going to go right into the Message version. This is Genesis chapter 39, the Message. After Joseph had been taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelites, Potiphar, an Egyptian, one of Pharaoh's officials, and the manager of his household, bought him from them. As it turned out, God was with Joseph, and things went very well with him. He ended up living in the home of his Egyptian master. The master recognized that God was with him, saw that God was working for good in everything he did. He became very fond of Joseph and made him his personal aide. He put him in charge of all his personal affairs, turning everything over to him. From that moment on, God blessed the home of the Egyptian, all because of Joseph. The blessing of God spread over everything he owned, at home and in the fields, and all Potiphar had to concern himself with was eating 3 meals a day. Joseph was strikingly handsome. As time went on, his master's wife became infatuated with Joseph, and one day said, "Sleep with me." He wouldn't do it. He said to his master's wife, "Look, with me here, my master doesn't give a second thought to anything that goes on here. He's put me in charge of everything he owns. He treats me as an equal. The only thing he hasn't turned over to me is you. You're his wife after all. How could I violate his trust and sin against God?" She pestered him day after day. But he stood his ground. He refused to go to bed with her. On one of these days, he came to the house to do his work, and none of the household servants happened to be there. She grabbed him by his cloak, saying, "Sleep with me." He left his coat in her hand and ran out of the house. When she realized that he had left his coat in her hand and ran outside, she called to her house servants, "Look, this Hebrew shows up, and before you know it, he's trying to seduce us. He tried to make love to me, but I yelled as loud as I could. With all my yelling and screaming, he left his coat beside me here and ran outside." She kept his coat right there until his master came home. She told him the same story and said, "The Hebrew slave, the one you brought to us, came after me and tried to use me for his plaything. When I yelled and screamed, he left his coat with me and ran outside." When his master heard his wife's story, telling him, "These are the things your slave did to me," he was furious. Joseph's master took him and threw him into the jail where the king's prisoners were locked up. But there in jail, God was still with Joseph. He reached out in kindness to him. He put him on good terms with the head jailer. The head jailer put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners. He ended up managing the whole operation. The head jailer gave Joseph free rein, never even checked on him because God was with him. whatever he did, God made sure it worked out for the best. That's the end of chapter 39. I love this chapter so much. It's a lot that went on in it. I'm not going to really reiterate too much of it except this quick synopsis. God is with Joseph. He's truly a man of God. He's one of the best men of God I see in this book. He's not the best. I suppose if you were to put Jesus in this, which I put Jesus on a completely different realm than human men. But Joseph, in his own right, so much, to me, is just one of my favorites. Because he's just a really stand-up, righteous guy. He's really walking with God, and he's not out there just trying to get over on anyone or do anything wrong. He really is trying to do the right thing and live right. And he really is acknowledging God and the things that he does. Despite all that's happened to him so far, he doesn't have his family with him. His mother died before that. And then his brothers betrayed him and hated him and sold him. They wanted to kill him. And then he's got his cousins, the Ishmaelites, that sold him in Egypt to this Potiphar guy. And he's just got this whole new life after who knows how much emotional trauma and distress he just went through, going through all of that. And yet God's with him, and he's blessing him and everything that he does, so much that even though he's in this bad situation, God is spoiling him in a way. He's making sure that he's not in harm's way. And I gotta say, I just really resonate so much with that, because I'm in a season, I've been in a season for a few years now that's very similar to that, where just people have betrayed me and I don't understand why. I don't understand why the people have hated me that don't even know me, and I don't understand why. It's just people have been really abusive. Some people are straight up racist. It's just a lot of things that were just coming at me from left and right and whatever, that had absolutely no rhyme or reason to it. It was just blind hatred, and who knows, I'm sure some people have tried to put some hexes and stuff on me too, for whatever reason they felt like it was okay to do it. But God is here. He's been with me this whole time, especially in this last year. He's really been working with me. I mean, he's always been with me, and in the last few years he's really been with me, but this past year is the closest I think I've ever been with God, ever. And the things I can tell you, and I'm going to have to wait until another time. God is telling me to wait to tell you this testimony. I've been saying this in several of my videos since I started reading from Genesis, but it's true. There's a really big testimony that I really have to share with you guys, and I think that's part of why I went through these things, is because I have to tell this story. But I think also it was to increase my faith, and just so many other reasons. It was meant to affect the people around me, or the people who interacted with me. It was meant to, God's presence was meant to be in this story in this way. And I'm just praying that I'm doing everything he's wanting me to do in this chapter. I know I'm not perfect, but I pray that what I am doing, it can be used for whomever it was meant to reach, for whomever it was meant to affect, aside from myself. And I just can really resonate. I think that's probably also why I like Joseph so much, is because I was definitely that kid growing up that, I'd even have some of my elders rolling their eyes at me. To this day, some of them, even though they love me, they'll roll their eyes at me because maybe I seem like a goody two-shoes or something to them. But naturally, it's just always been something in me that naturally there's so many things that I wouldn't dare to do on purpose, because it's just terrible. It's just wrong. And one of those things being this sexual immorality thing. Here we are again. We just read about Judah in the last chapter and what happened with him. And now we're reading about Joseph, who's literally making a completely different choice. He's 180. It's night and day, Judah and Joseph here, in their decisions when it comes to sexual activities or women or whatever. And I just love Joseph. He's just a real man. I know some people, think that, being a real man and all that, a man needs this sexually and that. That's not true. Those things are lies. And look, I'm not a man, so I don't know what it's like to be in a man's body, but I'll say this much. Joseph is a prime example. There's other men in this Bible that are prime examples. There's also men that I've met in real life that are prime examples that those things are lies. They're just excuses for people to be enabled to sin and do terrible things, with their bodies. And I just love the fact that even though Joseph had all this power, and Joseph was really blessed despite everything that happened to him. He remained obedient. I'm sure he wasn't 100% perfect in every single thing he ever did in his life, but he was definitely a man of God doing his best with all his strength, with all of his human ability to walk with God and do what's right. And it seemed natural to him, which I can resonate with. I love the fact that even though this lady, I don't know what her problem is, she's married, so I don't know why she's trying to, or who knows who else she's done this to in the past, but I don't know what's going on there. She shouldn't be messing with some guy. It says in here that he's very handsome, so I can only imagine, like, okay, so you see this hot guy working, this hot young guy working, but you're married. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why you're trying to sleep with this man. And then he says no. He says no a lot. It says day after day after day. He says no. He doesn't want to. He even explains why he doesn't want to. And I got to tell you, there have been situations, even in jobs that I've worked, where men have been absolutely sexually disturbing towards me for years. Like one of the last jobs I had before, like in my present day, there was a man that was just really like harassed me. I think he tried to put like love spells on me and everything. So this stuff is real that's going on here in this chapter 39. There are people out there that are just, they won't take no for an answer. And it just gets really gross. It's not really about love at this point. It's just some kind of control, demonic, lusty thing, at this point, when the person is clearly not interested in you and you just want to force it anyway. You just want it to happen anyway, even though the person is disgusted at you at this point and they don't want you. And I've been in that situation where I've had to just walk away. And it's different for a woman than it is for a man. She's pretty aggressive, but I got to say, in my situation, I've had guys be super aggressive about that sort of thing. And as I said in previous chapters and previous videos, that I'm not for sexual immorality. That's one of the things, like, for me, I think it's gross. Like, I'll never stop saying that stuff is gross. Like, if you're not married, and I mean a real marriage, you already know what I mean about that. If you're not in that type of relationship, that one flesh, and I mean first marriage type thing, both of your first marriage, then I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't want no part of it, because any of that, first of all, you're risking a lot of things just in the material world. But it's just a curse to do that to yourself. And look, I get it. You get lonely or whatever. But man, for those of you guys who are trying to walk with God, and that's like a area in your life that you struggle with, please hold on. I pray that God will give you the strength to hold on. I pray that He'll take those feelings away from you, those desires away from you, and open your eyes and help you see how destructive it is to the point that you wouldn't want to do it. For me, it's just, like I've had times where like I wish I had so-and-so or whatever was with me or something. But I also learned through the last few years of my life that stuff like that just really isn't important unless it's the real thing. It's just a waste of your time and a waste of your body, or just a waste of your whatever you got going, the love that you think you're sharing with someone when it isn't of God. I really like that he just said no, and to the point that when she tried to get aggressive one day, she grabs his, coat. He just comes out of his clothes. My dude just runs out of his clothes to get away from her, man. That's how much he didn't want her. I love that. Chef's kiss to Joseph, man. That's a stand-up guy. He just wasn't going to commit adultery. He just wasn't going to sleep with his boss's wife. He just didn't want her. He didn't even want to fornicate. He wasn't even out there with other women either. This guy was like a really good stand-up guy, walking upright in the eyes of God. That's a dream man to me, please. Like, that's a wonderful man. My goodness. And yeah, they are rare in today's world, someone like that. And if you are a man and you're walking with God and, you didn't do that, it's not too late if you're still alive. You can start refining yourself and it's up to you, though, to pray to God and make that effort and pray that to God to give you the strength to do so. It's just like any other sinful thing in life. You can escape it and get out of it, but it's up to you to choose to ask God for help and really mean it and, really stay with Him, even in the struggle of coming and transitioning out of that into a new life where you're regular life is just that, it's just that's foreign to you, and that can happen. I'll vouch for that. Not sexually, I've never had a problem with that stuff, but with other things. We've all got things that we've struggled with in life, or that the devil has tried to like trick us into believing that we needed, or that it was a good thing or comforting or normal, and it just isn't. It's just self-destructive. And I don't know, I just really like Joseph. He just did the right thing. That lady lied on him, obviously. Used that coat that she basically, tried to rape him with. I don't really even understand that. If a person doesn't want you, why are you trying to force it? It's gross. I even have people like that now, and I'm not going to get into that. Like, people I don't know that just don't take a hint that I'm not interested, and they think like these sexual advances or these words, they just think that like in today's world it's so wicked, because they think like stuff like that is normal and okay, and like it's lighthearted, and it's so gross. It just shows how lost a lot of people are, and I'm not here to condemn them. I hope they find their way. I really pray that they find their way. But I don't find those things funny. That's gross. Like, I pray that God will, wake them up out of that. At least when it comes to people like me who aren't interested, and we're making it clear we're not. And we're not doing it because we can't. Oh, I can't get this guy or that guy. I don't want any of these guys. So, I don't know. Like, it's a choice that I'm actually actively making, like Joseph here. We just don't want that stuff. If we're going to have it, we want to have it the right way, or not at all. And God's going to give it to us. So, she lies, and he goes to jail, which stinks. But even when he goes to jail, he's like the head of, he's like in charge of the other prisoners. God is still like hooking him up. He's always at the top wherever he's going. He's always up there in charge and blessed. Despite, now it seems like he's even worse off. Now he's in jail. It's like God is still here with him. God is still, and oh my gosh, I have stories, guys. I swear I'm going to have to tell you some really interesting testimonies. You won't believe some of the things that I've experienced in my young life, but I swear, I'm not even going to swear. Forgive me, God. But the stories that I can tell you that are just, it's like a movie. It really is. And there was a person in my Bible study that just said that about my life. Is like, it's cinematic. And it really is. It's just really like something that somebody must have really taken a lot of time out to write, because it's not like a normal life. But I also know that there's a time coming. It's coming really, really soon. I can't say too much about it, but God is about to put me in a really, really good space in life. There's a really wonderful, beautiful, bright and sunny season coming for me. And I mean, like, it's right around the corner. Can't really say too much about it yet until, it actually happens. Then I'm going to share some things. I won't be able to share everything at once, but once this thing that I'm waiting on happens, I need to share a really interesting testimony. I have many to share, and like they're all into one big testimony, but I'm going to share some of it at that point. And it's coming soon. I can feel it. And it's really interesting that it's coming soon as I'm finishing Genesis. But I say all this stuff to say, I know there's a lot of people out there that have been through something like me. Maybe not as much as me. I don't really meet a lot of people who've been through a journey like mine. But I find that sometimes when you're really walking with God and you have this light in you, it leaves you, unfortunately, like the people around you. It's just like the Bible says, like, you're this light, on a hill. And there's just darkness, around you. These other people don't have it. And it's not to say that, I have this. No, the light is God in me, okay? It's not me at all. It's just God. It's me allowing God to be in me, the Holy Spirit. And it is shining. And there are people around that do not have this. And so it's like this light that's shining. And it kind of like, it's like a spotlight on you to be spiritually attacked. And for a long time, I didn't really understand what that was until recently. God has really, really opened my eyes about that, shed some light on that, literally. And so I've had a lot of people like wishing bad and wanting bad on me just for existing. It's just really out there. But God never forsakes his children. He never lets the righteous be moved. And there's a verse, I think it's a proverb, maybe 10:22. No, it's 10:30 maybe, where it says something about, I could be wrong. Let me actually make sure I'm not quoting you guys wrong, but it says, it's talking about, in fact, let me just go to this. Psalm 10:30. No, not Psalm. Sorry, Proverbs. Proverbs. Okay. So yes, it is. It's Proverbs 10:30. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not inhabit the earth. In some translations, it'll say, but the wicked will not remain in the land. But the righteous shall never be removed. Okay, that's a big part. Okay, to realize we're not even going to focus on these wicked people and what they've done. We're going to focus on the righteous, which is Joseph in this point, and he's not going to be removed. He's not going to be eliminated. God's got plans for him. And he's building him, building his faith, building his character, all of these things, while also creating these interactions with others through him. Potiphar saw that he was blessed. He saw that he was, and he ended up entrusting everything to him because he knew that whatever Joseph was going to do, it was going to do well. He really liked Joseph because he was getting blessings through him, and he knew that it was because of God. So, keep that in mind when you're walking with God. It doesn't matter what it looks like, guys. Like, just believe in God. And I know sometimes you can be challenged when you're believing in God. Believe me, like even now, like me believing in God, I have these other forces trying to challenge me, my belief in him. And I can't because he's just been there for me so much in ways that I really, really, really look forward to telling you about. But he's just been there for me in ways like I can't. And it's only because of him. It's only because of God. Like, there's no other way that I would be where I am at right now, let alone where I'm going, if it weren't for him and him moving things. I just want to find something really fast. At the end of this chapter, it says, and in verse 21, and I'm just going to go forward. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper in prison. God can change people's hearts. He can move mountains. He can put your name at the top of the list. He can make things available to you that didn't even exist a moment before. First of all, he already knows what happens in this world from beginning to end. So he's constantly, can you imagine how great that is? He's constantly working from the beginning of the world's existence to the end of it. He's got it already figured out. So these things aren't just really materializing out of nowhere. He already had it in his mind. I don't even know how to describe it, but like, it's not like your name just appeared at the top of the list or this thing became available all of a sudden. He already had things moving around and planned since the beginning of time for you to be blessed in that moment, in that moment, in that moment. God can do anything, even if it looks impossible, even if it doesn't make sense. Even just in this past month, I can say that that's so true. I don't know how he's doing certain things in my life right now. And he waited at a good time. He trained me up pretty well. There's still so much training and, forever for me to go through. But he trained me up pretty well in this aspect to where the things that he's blessing me with right now, I am very responsible with. I've learned, and I don't know how he maneuvered this. I don't understand. I don't. But somehow it is anyway. And I accept it. I don't really need it to make a lot of sense at this point anymore. I just want my God to be with me and bless me, deliver me, love me. I don't care if it makes sense in the material world or not. I'll take the blessing for sure. And that goes for anything else that will happen in my future. I'll take the blessing. It does not have to make sense. So I say all this stuff to say, you might be going through a hard time because you are walking with God. That happens a lot. Joseph's going through this. He was blessed by God with these beautiful dreams. He was blessed by God with a really nice life. And even to the point that even his brothers hated him. And he didn't do anything. It was his father, playing favorites. But Joseph didn't do anything. And God made sure that even though these people, his brothers, his own family, did him dirty, they even mocked him. Let's see what happens to his dreams, what becomes of his dreams now. Well, God's going to make sure that something becomes of those dreams. Even though you just did something extremely evil and nasty for no real reason. You try to ruin someone's life. You try to kill them. You try to destroy them. And God just said no. Everywhere that Joseph goes, he's blessed. And he's put at the very top. Doesn't matter where they put him. Doesn't matter if they put him in jail. Doesn't matter if they make him a slave. He's at the top. Always. And I love that. So hallelujah to God. Hallelujah to Yah. Okay? Because he's just watching over those righteous. He's watching over those that are abiding in him. And he will do good towards those who love him. He won't leave you. He won't forsake you. You're following him. It doesn't matter what somebody else or other people are trying to do, even if they're trying to put hexes and curses and it looks like it's working. Oh, please know that God is seeing everything and he's got plans for that. And he's got plans for those people who did that. I think it's crazy. People that think they're bold enough to mess with people in that way, let alone mess with one of God's kids in that way. Because God has a way of really making that come right back on you. He has a way of really, really using that for the good of the person to continue to bless them. And then he's going to come for you. He's going to come with that vengeance. So I've said this in a previous chapter. Be careful about that. If you're out there trying to put spells on people or trying to, whether you realize that's what you're doing or not, whether it's a straight up intentional spell of evil or not. You're wishing bad. You're speaking nasty on another person because you're jealous or something. Maybe you're racist, right? Maybe you're sexist. Maybe you secretly lusting after that person and they don't want you, right? Like in this story. Whatever the reason is, maybe it's just the light of the Holy Spirit shining through that person and you don't have it. And something in your soul is upset and bothered by that. That you want to cause someone harm or just think only about yourself without any regard to them if you're hurting them or not. God gonna come for you. So for those of you that are going through that, don't get vengeance. Let God work on that. Pray for those people to be saved, to have the opportunity to be saved. Leave yourself as blameless as you can in that situation so that God won't be coming for you. He won't listen to your prayers if you don't forgive in the first place. So forgive these people, pray for these people, and be delivered from them people. Get away. Get away. And if you can't get away, ask for God to remove them. He will. You got to believe, though. Believe in God, because he can do anything. And I know this testimony is really going to help someone. It's huge. There's so many little testimonies in it that aren't really little. And I know this testimony is just going to be here to help you, whoever you are watching these, reading these with me. It's going to help you believe in God so much more and trust him. And I know this world can beat you up, and the bad things that happen to those who follow God sometimes, it can just really make you question things. But please, guys, just really trust in God. Just keep trusting him no matter what it looks like, and believe him. Start quoting his scriptures, start reading these things, start Googling promises of God, and start memorizing them. Play those things, on your phone or whatever device you have. Start playing those things so that you can get it really to resonate in your soul, so that even if you don't know exactly at first where that verse came from, it's still in your heart and your soul, and you're able to quote it in your prayers, when you're petitioning, when you're just speaking with authority and declaring. I'm talking too much. So I just really love this story because Joseph's a really good stand-up guy. He's a great example of all the stereotypes about men these days, and he just proves it wrong. And he's not the only one here in this book that does that. There's a lot of men in this book that does that. He's just one of my favorites because, it's just illustrated so well and described in great detail how stand up he is and righteous, and just that he wants to do the right thing and that it comes natural to him. He wasn't even tempted to be with that woman. And that's really crazy that he was put in jail over those lies. Because now, it doesn't seem like they got punished. Oh, they will be, because now the blessings are leaving with Joseph, right? He was blessed in everything he did, where the guy didn't have to do anything, Potiphar. But now that he's putting him in jail, do you really think that he's going to be blessed like he was? He's never going to be blessed like that again. He might even be cursed, because it was all based on a lie, and the promise of God says that he's going to curse those who curse that line of Israel. Keep that in mind. He curses those who curse that line of Israel, that bloodline. He also blesses those who bless. And it shows here. He was blessed when he was blessing Joseph. Now that he's kind of cursing him, we're not going to know what happens, but you can guess based on the promises of God that never returns void. On top of that, he's already cursed, if you can kind of see it. He's got a really terrible wife that cheats on him and lies and plays games and isn't even honest with her own husband. Isn't even open and honest. That in itself is a curse. And there's more of that probably coming Potiphar's way. But I love the fact that the Bible doesn't even dwell on that. It's just kind of assumed. If you really take into God's promises that have already been declared here, it's already assumed. So let's see what happens to Joseph next. Now he seems like he's in a worse off place, but God's still watching over him. He still doesn't have freedom. And he didn't do anything. He's not a criminal. He didn't do anything wrong in the first place to even be in any of this mess. But God is with him still. So much that he's finding favor in the eyes of still people like the top authorities in jail. Where he's still at the top. Even in a prison. Watching over other prisoners. Where he's not even surveillanced. He's able to move around freely in that prison and do his thing. So just keep that in mind. And I can say that even now for me, when people try to do bad things to me, God just turned it around. God just basically, I don't know, he just blessed me anyway. So and he's still blessing me. He's got some really big ones coming. He's blessed me a lot in this past year. He's blessed me, period, just with life. But when I'm saying, he's blessing me in this way, like Joseph, he really is. And there's still so much more to come. Some really big ones that I'm just, oh my gosh, I'm holding on to tell you guys about. So it is the Sabbath officially. So Shabbat Shalom. And Passover is starting as well. It starts tomorrow. So I am hoping and praying that you guys really have a good Shabbat if you celebrate it. I'm praying for a really great and blessed Passover if you celebrate it. And I may not be coming on tomorrow because it's the Shabbat. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be up to it, but I'm not really sure yet. Either way, I just really pray that you guys got something out of this message. If you found things that stand out to you about it, please leave some comments. If you want, thumb it up for the algorithm so that other people can find a chapter a day Bible study. It's up to you. But I just pray that you are blessed anyway, and just don't let life get you down. It can be hard sometimes, but as I've been encouraged by others and by the blessings of God, I am also here to try to hopefully be used by God to bless you with some encouragement today, to hold on, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. Just stay in the Word of God, stick with God, keep walking that narrow path, believe that He is going to come through for you. He already is. Believe that it's already shifting, imagine it, things already moving and shifting around in the spiritual realm, and just hold on to that. Hold on to that and His promises. Hold on to that thought that things are moving, even if it hasn't manifested right before you yet, that it's preparing to do so. And hold on to that with everything you got, and to God's promises that He loves you so much that He's not going to leave you or forsake you, and that the things that He is saying in this book and the promises that He says, they will come to pass. Believe that. Really believe it, and watch and see what happens. So I say all that to say, I hope you guys have a blessed night, and I love you guys. Bye.